Okay, folks, wow, where do we even start today? It's a big day on a number of fronts, and we'll be talking a lot more about that once we bring in our smart silicon sand, our co-hosts of AI Today, to do their now predictable deep diving, but into a very unpredictable week of news. We're going to be covering Devin, which is an amazing and astonishing, a really mature, grown-up approach to code editing. So I'm really excited to be going down the rabbit hole on Devin with you. And then obviously the biggest news of the week. How did Google counter OpenAI's 12 Days of Christmas? Well, in pretty spectacular style, the Flash 2 experimental, Google Gemini 2 Flash, more specifically, the experimental model is blowing people's minds in terms of spatial stuff, in terms of multimodality. This is where you can ask a question and it fires back in a variety of different formats, whether it's text, whether it is as a photo, or whether it's in audio. Google Gemini 2 Flash is really resetting the results as well across the workbenches. It is performing miraculously and insultingly, but in the best possible way for us users. It's totally free to use, to experiment with in Google's AI Studio, aistudio.google.com. You can use it now, and it's at the frankly ridiculous rate of 1 million tokens per minute. You can really kick the tires using that amount. It blows my mind right now. I mean, I know there are environmental implications, but the latency on this thing, how quick it responds to your prompts, blows my flipping mind. I was just creating a Python script just now and feeding back with the console log, telling it what had gone wrong, and quick as a flash coming back with the updates to the code base. So easy to ship now. And when you partner this with Devin, we have got on our hands something really spectacular. Without further ado, getting Dave Thackeray out the way so that the experts can take center stage. Thank you once again for listening to AI Today. I hope it's proving useful to you, no matter which business you're in. As a leader, we want to focus on growth, we want to focus on productivity, and we want to focus on getting the most out of your people while leaving a big smile on their face, getting rid of the drudge work so we can focus on building better businesses. Okay, have a great day, and here we go. Let's get stuck in. Devin and Gemini 2 Flash, in brackets experimental.
Okay, Devin first. It's officially live. You can use it with your whole team, and it's just $500 a month. Doesn't matter how many people are using it.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, the blog post is making it to be this huge deal, like it's going to completely change how engineering teams work.
Helping teams ship faster.
With way more confidence.
They say it's all about letting developers focus on the stuff that really matters.
What really jumped out at you from the material?
Honestly, just how much Devin can already do.
Yeah, there are a ton of examples.
They talk about how it shines on those little coding tasks.
The ones that take up, way too much of a developer's time.
Stuff like fixing front-end bugs.
Getting those pull requests ready.
Doing those really targeted code refactorings.
That's almost like having, an extra pair of hands.
More like a super smart intern who never sleeps.
I like that. And they have a whole section in there about how Devin's already contributing to, real-world open-source projects.
The examples they give are actually pretty impressive.
It actually found and fixed bugs in Anthropic's MCP, Zod, and even Llama Index.
It's not just reading and understanding the code here.
It's digging through the documentation and even writing unit tests.
Exactly.
And I was looking through some of the stuff online, and someone said that Devin's saved them 100 hours of debugging APIs.
100 hours? That's insane. That's weeks of work.
Yeah, but you have to remember that Devin's not a magic wand.
Right.
The blog post is really careful to say that you need to give it clear instructions, break down big projects into smaller steps, and, give it feedback.
So it's more like working with a junior developer who learns crazy fast.
That's a great way to put it.
You give it tasks you understand, you check its work, give it feedback, and it just keeps getting better.
Exactly. That's how you really unlock its potential and get that huge efficiency boost.
I'm already trying to think about how I can work Devin into my own workflow. Imagine like getting rid of all those boring, repetitive tasks and having time for the stuff that actually matters.
It's definitely tempting.
How about you? Can you see Devin fitting into your work?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely some things I'd be happy to hand off. But maybe we should switch gears for a minute and talk about Google's other big announcement.
Oh yeah, Gemini 2.0 Flash.
Google's calling it a new chapter for developers.
And after reading through all this stuff, I can definitely see why.
There's a lot to unpack here.
There really is. The technical overview alone is like jam-packed with new stuff. For one thing, they've added this multimodal live API, which is specifically for real-time applications that use audio and video.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying we've got AI that can see, hear, and respond all in real time?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's a game changer for anything interactive, right?
Absolutely. Plus, the speed and quality are way better than the old version.
What else?
They've really boosted its what they call agentic capabilities.
What do you mean?
Meaning it's gotten a lot better at understanding different kinds of inputs, writing code, following complicated instructions, and even making its own decisions.
Wow. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. They've added native image generation and controllable text-to-speech. It can literally generate different voices now with accents and different languages.
Okay, slow down for a sec. This is like a lot to take in. What does all this actually mean for businesses, like practically?
Well, the blog post talks about how the improved spatial understanding leads to more accurate bounding box detection in images.
Okay, that sounds like a bunch of jargon to me.
It might sound technical, but it's a really big deal for anything that uses images like medical imaging or self-driving cars. Imagine AI that can spot like the tiniest abnormalities in an X-ray or a self-driving car that can navigate like the most complex environments without any problems.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about those new output modalities?
Like the different voices and languages.
Yeah, that's got to be huge for like interactive storytelling or personalized learning, right?
Definitely. But one of the biggest changes is that Gemini can now use Google search directly.
So it can like do its own research.
Basically, it can access up-to-the-minute information and give you responses based on current data, which is going to completely change how we use AI for research, decision-making, and just staying informed.
Okay, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
We've got AI that can see, hear, speak, write code, understand, and generate images, and now do its own research on Google.
It's pretty wild, right?
This is like something straight out of a movie.
It really is. The question is, how are you going to use all of this to transform your business in 2025?
That's a good question.
Could you use the multimodal live API to create more personalized customer interactions? What about automating content creation with text, images, and even audio?
Those are some seriously big questions.
Yeah.
Before we get too carried away,
It is important to note that some of these features, like image and audio generation, are still in early access.
Right.
The potential is definitely there, but we have to be realistic about what the technology can do right now. But still, it's not too early to start planning and experimenting. We've seen how powerful AI can be for software development with Devin.
yeah.
But Gemini 2.0 takes it to a whole new level with what they're calling AI code agents.
What, you mean AI that can write code and actually do stuff for developers?
Exactly.
That's some next level stuff.
It is. The blog post talks about how Gemini's speed and the fact that it can use tools like Google Search are leading to like huge breakthroughs in code generation.
And this isn't just like simple scripts.
Right. We're talking about complex projects.
Like this Jules thing they talk about, the experimental AI coding agent.
That's the one.
You can work on Python and JavaScript projects, fix bugs, and even like create pull requests on GitHub.
So it's like having this like tireless coding apprentice that's always learning and getting better.
And there's also something in there about a data science agent in Colab that can create entire Colab notebooks just from you describing what you want to analyze.
Imagine telling it, like, analyze this data to find connections between these two variables, and it just does it.
It's mind-blowing, but also like a little scary if I'm being honest. So the question is this the future of software development?
It's a big question.
And if it is, how do we stay relevant as humans in a world where AI can like code circles around us?
It's a valid question, and one that it really makes you think, doesn't it? All this AI doing stuff that used to be like the core of what developers do.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember these AI code agents are still just tools.
Super advanced tools.
But yeah, right. They're not replacing developers entirely.
More like giving them superpowers.
Exactly. They can handle those tedious, repetitive tasks.
The stuff that burns people out.
And that frees up human developers to focus on the big picture.
Strategy.
Creative problem solving.
Designing really great user experiences.
Right. So it's not AI taking over. Is AI taking over the grunt work?
More like AI and humans working together.
Exactly. And that could make developers more productive, more efficient, and happier.
But I think the big question on everyone's mind is like, what does this mean for developer jobs in the future?
It's a valid question, but throughout history, technology has always, changed the way we work.
The Industrial Revolution.
Computers.
Each one of those things caused big changes.
And people adapted.
So you're saying history's on our side, like we can figure this out just like we have before.
I think we have a responsibility to learn from history and be proactive about preparing for the future.
Okay, so how do we do that?
We need to invest in education, training programs that teach people the skills they'll need to thrive in a world powered by AI.
What kind of skills are we talking about?
Skills that AI can't replicate. Critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, collaboration.
The things that make us human.
Exactly. And developers will need to become experts at using these AI tools.
Understanding their strengths and weaknesses.
Knowing how to integrate them into their workflow. It's about becoming fluent in AI.
So it's not about being replaced by AI. It's about figuring out how to work with it.
Exactly.
It's about evolving alongside it. And that means focusing on what makes us human and mastering the tools that let us use AI to its full potential.
It's like a partnership.
That's a good way to put it, a partnership.
And the people who embrace that partnership, who learn and adapt, they'll be the ones who thrive.
And those who don't, who cling to the old ways of doing things.
They might get left behind. It's just the reality of how technology changes things.
But it also creates huge opportunities for those who are ready to grab them.
Right. Thinking about those opportunities makes me feel a lot more optimistic about all of this.
Me too, even though it's still kind of scary.
It's natural to feel both excited and apprehensive. This is really transformative technology. But remember, the future of AI isn't set in stone.
We're the ones shaping it right now.
With every line of code we write, every decision we make, every conversation we have about AI.
That's a really powerful thought. So it's not just about the technology itself, but how we choose to use it and how we prepare ourselves for the changes it brings. We've talked a lot about what these AI code agents can do and what that might mean for software development.
Right.
But let's zoom out for a second. What does a world where AI is doing more and more stuff actually look like for everyone, not just people in tech?
Well, it's already changing things in a lot of industries. Healthcare, finance, transportation, education. AI's impact is growing everywhere. And as AI gets more and more sophisticated, that influence is only going to get bigger.
And that brings up some big questions, like what are the downsides? What do we need to be prepared for as a society?
One of the biggest concerns is jobs. As AI gets more capable, there's a real risk it could automate jobs that are currently done by humans. And that could lead to unemployment, inequality, even social unrest. Those are serious problems, and we need to figure out how to deal with them.
It's kind of overwhelming to think about, like what happens to the people who lose their jobs? How do we make sure everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a few people?
We have to be proactive. We need to invest in those education and training programs.
The ones that prepare people for the jobs of the future.
Exactly. Jobs that will probably involve working with AI in different ways. We also need to think about social safety nets that can help people who are displaced by automation. These are complicated issues that are going to take a lot of thought and collaboration.
It feels like we've gone from a deep dive to a call to action.
It is a call to action. We can't just sit back and watch this happen. We have to be involved in shaping the future.
And that means getting involved, asking tough questions, and making sure our leaders are putting people first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to make sure AI is used to benefit everyone.
I'm feeling a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
A bit overwhelmed by how big all of this is,
I get it.
but also kind of energized. Like there's a lot of work to do.
There is.
But we're all in this together.
We are. And we have the power to create a future where AI benefits everyone.
I like that. So amidst all the uncertainty, there's one thing that doesn't change.
What's that?
Human ingenuity, resilience, compassion.
Those are the qualities that will see us through all of this and shape the world we leave for future generations.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today. From the specifics of Devin and Gemini to the big picture stuff about AI and the future of work and even humanity itself.
It's a lot to think about.
And we encourage everyone listening to keep exploring these topics, keep asking those tough questions, keep the conversation going.
Because the future of AI isn't something that's happening to us. We're all creating it together. So let's make it something we can all be proud of.
That's a great point. Okay, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive. We'll be back to explore these ideas even more and really dig into the possibilities and challenges of AI in our next session.
It's crazy, right? How fast everything's changing. Like a few years ago, all this AI stuff was just sci-fi.
Now it's real. And we're actually having to think about AI writing code and changing whole industries. It makes you wonder what the world will look like in a few years, doesn't it?
It really does. For me, the biggest change, the one that's going to have the most impact, is how we think about work. We're moving away from humans just doing tasks to humans and AI working together.
It's a whole new way of working.
And it could unlock crazy levels of productivity and creativity.
But it also makes you think about what does it even mean to be productive when AI can do so much of the work?
That's a really good question. And honestly, I don't think anyone has the answer yet. But for me, it means we have to figure out what's special about human work.
What are the things that make us humans?
Exactly. What are the skills and qualities that AI can't copy? And how do we help people develop those skills so they can work with AI?
So it's not just about learning how to use the new tech. It's about getting better at the things that AI can't do, like critical thinking and creativity and emotional intelligence.
Right. Those skills are going to be even more important in a world where AI is doing all the routine stuff. Imagine a world where humans don't have to do all that boring, repetitive work.
And they can spend their time solving hard problems.
Coming up with new ideas.
Creating things that have never existed before.
That's what I see happening when humans and AI really work together.
It's exciting, but also a little scary. How do we even prepare for that? Where do we start?
I think the most important thing is to embrace lifelong learning. Because the truth is, technology is going to keep changing faster and faster.
So we have to be able to adapt and learn new things all the time.
Exactly. We also need to be open to new ways of working, collaborating with others. The lines between different jobs and industries are getting blurrier all the time.
So we have to be flexible.
And adaptable.
So it's all about being proactive, embracing change, and constantly learning and growing.
It's about seeing all this as an opportunity, not a threat.
An opportunity to be the best versions of ourselves.
I like that. We have a chance to create a future where AI makes us better, where it helps us be more creative, and where it helps us solve the world's biggest problems. It's up to us to make that happen.
That's a great way to think about it. This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of AI.
We've covered a lot.
And I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
But I'm definitely feeling energized and hopeful about the future. What about you?
Definitely. It's a time of big changes, and it can feel a little scary, but it's also a time of incredible possibilities. And it's up to all of us to make sure those changes benefit everyone.
Well said. This deep dive has been all about exploring the world of AI, and I hope it's given you a lot to think about. But remember, this conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep learning, keep asking those tough questions. The future is ours to create, and we all have a role to play in shaping it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.